Life Fixers. Hope you're having an awesome day. Are you ready to rewire your brain for good observation so that way you can have that extraordinary marriage? Let's do this here on this episode. Okay, now that episode rocked, that previous one with JJ Fields or Joyce Fields. If you didn't listen to it, you don't know what I'm talking about. But there we spoke about a whole lot of things of how you can really have an extraordinary relationship. And one of the things that Joyce mentioned was observe your husband, observe your man, see what he's doing, see who he's talking to, see what he's saying, what he wants, what he's acting, find out what he likes through observation. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I asked her if somebody has a hard time with good observation, what could they do? Now, she said, listen. Listen is a really good one, but where does that fall under in the cognitive functions? Where does that fall under and actually be able link to rewire your brain so that way you can get better at it? And to answer your question, it's going to be in the input phase. Okay, quick reminder for all those of you who are new to this is there are three phases of thinking: input, how we take in the information; elaboration, how we think about it; and output, how we tell the world what we know. And listening is a really big part of input, right? How you take in this information. Now, what you are going to do with it once you observe it is going to be in the elaboration and output phase. Okay, so you listened, you heard him speak to his brother, you heard him speak to his coworker about something that he really likes. So your elaboration, your hypothetical thinking, if and thenning, you're planning, you're coming up with all different things. That's in the elaboration phase. And output phase is when you actually go and do something about it. When you buy him a present you really likes, when you surprise him, when you do something for him, when you don't do something for him because you know he doesn't like that. All those types of things come in the output phase. But the observing part, the actual observing part, is in the taking in phase. Now, which one of the cognitive functions is just listening? And that is what we call being precise and accurate. Now, being precise and accurate is actually the only cognitive function that comes in twice. Once when we take in the information and once when we put out the information in the output phase, because right? You don't want a neurosurgeon doing something on your brain if they're not being super precise. That's in the alpha phase when they're doing something about it. Now, it's not about perfectionism. That's a conversation for another time. Right now, we're in the input phase about making sure we're taking in the accurate data, right? So if somebody gives you an address, you're not like, oh, whatever, it's on the street, or it's like 14 when it's really 15 or something like that. You are being precise. You are being accurate. You're making sure you're taking in the information correctly. Now, so while you're observing, while you're watching your man, you got to make sure it's not just okay just to listen and like be half like listening to it. You have to really, really be making sure that you are being precise and accurate. This doesn't mean that you have to go and stand on top of him, and it doesn't mean you have to go and annoy him, and it doesn't mean you have to go and bother him, but it means that when you're taking in information, you've got to check to make sure that is precise. Literally, the way to get better at this is to be intentional about being precise. Asking myself, is this really what it is? Was it whatever, just like about, or was it like really, really, really this? Can I repeat back what he says? Is it this one or that one? Those sort of things, those sort of questions to get really precise and getting good at observing. Now, there's a lot more to it, but that's for you to get started so that way you'll actually be able to do it. So you are going to try today, at least one time, if you want to make your relationship extraordinary, to observe your husband either in actions that he's doing or talking that he's doing or things like that without controlling him. Remember, that's a really big part of that too. She said, we're not here to control people. And just make sure you're observing him in a precise manner. This will also prevent a lot of fights from happening. He said this, she said this about, I'm sure you could imagine and know exactly what I'm talking about, right? If you want to take this one step further and really rewire your brain with all 20 cognitive functions, deepest way possible, head over to lifepixuniversity.com/your brain rewired and get yourself on the wait list. So that way you'll be the first to know when registration opens up again. Bye for now, and I'll see you on the next episode.
That's all for this episode of the Life Picks University podcast, but I have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support the show, but will also help the people you love most. We are striving for 1 million downloads by the end of 2025, and we can't do this without your help. If you love this episode, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can rewire their brains to have an extraordinary marriage. It was awesome spending time with you, and I'll see you on the next episode.